Okay, so yeah, last time you guys spoke to Mordenkainen, and he mentioned a bunch of things that were important, including telling you that Madam Ava gave you some really important sort of guidelines for things that you need to acquire before you should, try anything with Strahd. Mordenkainen also told you about some sort of hidden knowledge of the land that was really important about the Fanes, which, like, you had kind of heard about this from a book you got a while ago called The Ladies Three. But Mordenkainen kind of brought to your attention that this isn't actually just folklore, that this is part of where Strahd gets his power from. And that in order to sort of take Strahd's power down a notch, you guys are going to need to remove some of that power by restoring it to the land, aka the Fanes. So there were three Fanes that were mentioned. There was the Swamp Fane, the Mountain Fane, and the Forest Fane. And basically, he told you, I don't really know where the shrines are, but the shrines need to be reconsecrated in order for you to help make Strahd mortal, because right now he's immortal. And he gave you some insight that the swamp in Berez, that there's a lady of the swamp. He didn't really say lady of the swamp, but more like witch. Has domain over there, and that what used to be like a small kind of farming village is now like completely in ruins. He also told you that yeah, he told you a bunch of other various things that felt important, and you will get to all of those things. Essentially, he gave you sort of like a layout of the different areas. So like he opened up a map and pointed to a bunch of things and told you like what was there and if you should go there and like how to proceed and what you might encounter. So he showed you where the ruins of Berez are. He showed you where there's a like wolf's den, a werewolf's den, up in the mountains by Krez. He showed you where the Amber Temple is and told you that Amber Temple is filled with knowledge, but also dangerous. Surprise, surprise. And yeah, he gave you guys each a charm of heroism as well as you left, in order to give you guys some buffs. And yeah, you guys actually left and decided to visit some shops on your way down towards the where the Order of the Silver Dragon used to be, and we don't really know what's there anymore. The most you've seen is a map that shows kind of a like kind of castle-y type thing on the map. But the most you've actually seen with your own eyes is there's a path that leads south, and you guys have walked by it a few times, and there's a ornate statue of a dragon that's sitting in front of the path, but you guys haven't taken that path yet, and that is your intention. That's where you're planning on going this time. You visited some shops out at the sort of western end of Vallaki. Shops that are actually right outside the town, not inside. You visited Jenny's shack. Jenny is an herbologist. She makes potions, and she sold you guys some potions, and she was quite the eccentric character. You guys also received a coin from Jenny that she told you to use when you needed her, but to only use outside. So, question mark. You met her boar, Toad. Toady was pretty cool and pretty loud. You also met Celigal, and Celigal is a Bowyer. I still don't know which one is right. It's a Fletcher, and he crafts really fancy bows. And we went into his shop, and he was like really astonished to see a female dusk elf. He hasn't seen one since he was a child, and he's now like 100. So it's been a long time. And then you also visited the Dusklight Supply General Store where you met the lovely Bethel. And Bethel seemed to take a lot of offense at shit that you guys were saying about the town of Vallaki. And she basically told you like that what's happened lately since the outbreak, essentially, that the town has gone into chaos, and the town blames the Baron, who's, you guys know, expression is all will be well. All was not well. So fuck the Baron. And they were not happy with this. So they decided to enact civilian justice. And him and his family are set to be sent to the gallows, with Lady Watcher in tow to take over as burgomaster. Burgomistress? I don't know what you would even call that of the town.
Burgomama.
Burgomama.
Who did they say was set to take over?
Lady Watcher.
Is that the bitch that wanted me to meet her?
Yeah.
Like super sketch, clearly not cool, like bad vibes. Lady Watcher.
Yep.
You get bad vibes.
That sounds like a lot of projections.
We got her sons were dickish.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I don't know.
Her sons were basically punks,
Yeah.
and she was
They were
being
like
super
little
manipulative.
Kind of annoying, yeah. And she sent her like a basically like a
Emissary.
yeah, an emissary. That's a great word. Ernst, to deliver a message to you guys that she wanted to have dinner with you, and you guys refused her invitation.
We didn't refuse. We just had other shit to do.
Busy.
You didn't go.
Very different connotation.
Yeah. And you didn't respond to the invite either. You didn't even like tell him like to relay a message or anything like that.
What did we say though then?
You basically said not now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a response.
Yeah.
Take
That's
a
a fair
rain check.
response. We have very busy plates. I don't know if you've seen our quest log, but there's a lot on there.
Lady Watcher has not. Your quest log means nothing to her.
Wow. Talk about rude.
So you guys just decided, you know what? Nah. And you're gonna kind of ignore the town of Vallaki for now and head down to
Wait, it's important to me that I understand the DM's interpretation that we blew that off rather than chose to do other things first.
You're just not going. You're not doing anything. That's all.
Right. We didn't go.
Yeah.
Because I think she's trouble.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we were just focused on other objectives at the time, and it felt like a distraction.
Hmm.
I don't believe that we
You-
got the sense that it was like bad.
Yeah, you guys can justify it however you want. Lady Watcher didn't get a response. So
I don't care about Lady. Well, I don't give a shit about what she thinks.
I'm
I
telling
just,
you.
I just
Yeah.
Go
want
pay her a visit right now.
I just want us to
Yeah.
be clear that I don't remember us getting anything negative vibey from her.
No, I totally did. What are you talking about? Speak for yourself, Ramis. Kane did not
What
like
was
those.
it? What
shady-
happened?
She sent her shady punk sons or whoever those dudes
No,
were.
like her emissary was like really kind, I thought.
He was pretty cordial, yeah.
No.
Yeah, he was like,
Sketch
I have been sent by milady
in
to
the
request
corner of the
you."
tavern.
So if you guys clearly don't remember, so let me help jog some memory,
I
which is
clearly do.
Ernst told you, the gist of what Ernst told you is that she didn't agree with the current way the town was being run.
Which nor did we at the time.
Which, yeah, I think you guys can interpret as she has an issue with the burgomaster.
And her solution is to kill the family, the innocent family. I stand by my original judgment.
You have
Trouble.
no idea that she is behind any of this. All you know,
Didn't you say she's set to take over?
she's been elected to become the new
Well,
burgomaster.
she's very much behind sending them to the gallows if she's in charge.
Right.
She's
100%.
not yet in charge, but that's kind of, I mean, you heard this from Bethel.
Who clearly knows a lot and cares more than we do.
And
so.
keep in mind that what you gathered from Bethel, what you were able to discern is that Bethel is loyal to the burgomaster. So Bethel's interpretation of this is negative.
Like, this is the town going to shit.
Yeah.
Like, I owe Bethel an apology.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, those are the facts. Cool. So you guys leave the Dusklight General Supply and make your way west down the cobbled old Svalak road. And after a couple hours of walking, and you guys this is probably like, let's go with maybe by this point, after talking with Mordenkainen, you guys left in the morning, you went down to the shops. It's probably in the mid to late afternoon at this point. You guys are leaving the shops, making your way downtown, walking fast, and you hear sounds from the woods to the north and to the south as you make your way west. You can hear callings of ravens every once in a while. You can hear a lone howl off in the distance. Nothing that sounds like it's too close, though. You come across a couple of traps that are sitting in the woods that you observe, and you assume that those are wolf traps set by our famous wolf hunters, which you guys all remember their names, right?
Yevgeny.
Yevgeny.
Yevgeny, yeah. Do you remember the other one's name?
He wasn't nearly as cool.
His name is Zoldar.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Zoldar and Yevgeny. Yeah, and you continue on your merry way, and after several hours, you come to a crossing in the path, and you see the what looks like it was once a beautiful ornate dragon sat atop a block of bronze, but it is now old and weathered and chipped away at, and does not look well taken care of.
Wait, but it's clearly a statue of a dragon.
It's a statue, yeah.
Okay, you're not saying it was like once an ornate actual dragon.
No, it's a statue. Okay. Yeah. And the dragon sitting atop is probably about the size of like your torso. Yeah.
And we've only ever walked by it and kind of noticed it before.
Yeah, you've seen it a few times. You've walked by it several times and you've noticed it several times, but you've never gone south. That path leads south. So that path leads south. If you continue forward, you will eventually hit the tower and Kresk to the west.
It would seem we finally get to see where this path leads. I think Ramis wants to like just look at the dragon a little bit closer.
Yeah. So you inspect the dragon a little bit closer, and you can see that it looks like it's sitting on top of bronze, and the actual statue itself looks like maybe made of like granite or limestone or something like that, stone dragon. And it looks weathered, you know, it's got some moss growing on it. It's got some chips in it, and it just doesn't look polished. It looks like maybe when it was first created and mounted here, it was quite stunning.
Do I have any emotional reaction?
It's a nice looking dragon.
So it's just weather worn.
Yeah.
So we feel the same way about this dragon as we do about the lackey, apparently.
I don't think you feel that it's a nice town, so I would say no. I don't know.
So we just crossed the bridge over the Lunar River.
Yeah.
Looking at the map.
Over
Okay.
Bridge crossing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we tell what kind of dragon it is meant to depict?
It's a stone dragon.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, roll. Do you have the ability to roll?
Yes.
Roll like, do you have maybe a history?
Ugh, history.
Hmm.
I'm too stupid. Even Zug's better at history than me.
I probably am, yes. You want me to put a hand on your shoulder?
Let's see. Oh, 17.
You have bless, Josh?
No,
He
I
has
will bless
encourage
you
Shoulder squeeze. I believe.
whenever you sneeze.
Oh
What
no,
happened?
the link to my art. I had this beautiful artwork and apparently I messed the link up. It just goes back to the Notion doc.
No,
Oh, that's such a bummer.
I wanted to
Hold
see.
on, I'm gonna Command Z and find it because I know it's here. Oh no, that's such a bummer. Oh no, I'm so sad.
Do you remember the search terms?
Yeah, maybe. Well, shit.
Hmm.
Don't look. I don't like you looking.
I don't like you gazing upon my screen with your optical lens.
I don't know what to do with my eyes.
Just go somewhere else.
Look at her forehead. Just look at it.
Okay, I got it. I found it. Okay. So
That was a
You
good
guys-
distraction.
do you guys want to inspect the statue anymore? Or you want
Yes.
to move on?
I rolled a 17. I want to know
Okay.
what
Yeah.
I roll.
It's a dragon.
What kind of drink?
It looks like a dragon.
Oh my god! I rolled a 17,
It's a
and that's all I
super-
get.
How do we know it's not a salamander?
Its wings are tucked neatly.
So I don't know if it's meant like a chromatic dragon or like an evil dragon or anything.
It looks like okay.
Does it look cranky? Does it look happy? Does it
So
look
it has a
sad?
Stoic and noble.
Good, good.
that could be
Appreciate your inquisitiveness, Ramis.
that could be a nice dragon. The Ramis is still just standing there staring at the statue. I don't know what other people are doing.
Are there any like gifts or anything at the base of the statue? Is
Gift?
there,
Are there any
Yeah.
sandwiches?
are there any
No.
cucumber slices with the crust off? No, is there anything at the base of the statue?
No.
Any-
There's no inscription or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Just a statue. No inscription, no nothing.
Okay. I'll slap the statue with my hand and start walking south along the Luna
Is
River.
it like a pat or like a you like slap?
Just like well, time to go.
So you touch it?
Yes, I touch it.
I love seeing your faces react when I ask that.
Why do you ask that? You were
as
inflicted
you-
with scale rot.
As you slap the dragon, your hand feels cool to the touch.
I am unsurprised as it is stone.
It feels cooler than you expected, given that it is stone and it is a cold day. Which, by the way, I forgot you guys to tell you how the day
Yeah.
is outside. I did that
Oh, yeah.
last session. It's misty, it's overcast, and it is breezy.
What's the temperature roughly in Celsius?
I don't know.
What temperature measurement do they use in D&D?
Um,
How sweaty and how chilly, how shivery am I?
I was gonna say that they use
Strahd bucks.
Strahd breeze.
Strahd breeze.
Strawberries?
It's about 46 Strahd breeze out right now.
That's fucking freezing.
A winding branch of the Old Spallic Road meanders up the forested slope of a mountain spur to what looks like an old mansion.
Ooh.
It's perched on high ground overlooking the Spallic Woods and the Luna River Valley. High above the river valley sits a quiet promontory upon which looms a mansion. Its turrets are capped with fairy tale cones. Its towers are lined with sculpted battlements. A third of the structure has completely collapsed, as has part of the roof, but the rest appears intact. A dark octagonal tower rises above the surrounding architecture. Out of the fog comes a distant peal of thunder, quickly accompanied by the howling of wolves in the woods below, but the house stands silent, seeming like a fossilized remain of some long dead thing smote upon the mountainside. And I have a graphic.
It's a nice place.
Ooh,
Hey, not a lot
Looks-
of green.
Right out of Scotland, right there, except for the
Fun.
dragon.
I would say that's one, like a fourth of the building collapsed.
But so is
So,
this another dragon?
yes. So in front of this house, sitting in front, perched atop a 10-foot wide, 10-foot high cube of granite, is a statue of a dragon. Its wings are tucked close to its body. And the statue actually looks east towards the mansion. This image shows the dragon looking towards you guys. This dragon actually is looking at the mansion. So this image it's like cool artwork, but it's slightly wrong. This dragon is looking that way towards the mansion.
Interesting.
The fog makes it difficult to see the dragon's features from a distance. Also, yeah, so I just want to show you guys kind of a mansion like / castle. So big building. This is 10 feet, just this right here. So it's pretty huge. And you can see this whole side of the towers, this whole side of the mansion is completely collapsed in and the roof is collapsed in. There's this huge tower that's rising above in the back area over here.
So just quick history check. The Revenant just told us like, yo, go to Argynvost's Hold.
Yeah, the Revenant said go to Argynvost Holt and told you to speak with Vladimir.
Who can be found at Argynvost's Hold.
But theoretically, but interesting that he thinks that, considering that this does not look like it would house any living creature.
Living creature, though he was not living himself.
Hmm.
how far away are we from all the structures?
I don't care. You tell me.
Can I investigate the dragon?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
I'm going to stop sharing now. And I will post this picture in the chat if anyone would like to reference it, because
It's a
it is
dope pic.
it's a fun picture.
Dope pick, bro.
I'm going to put it in the maps. It's not really a map, but it's an image. Upon close inspection, you can see that this is a silver dragon of noble bearing.
Okay.
Its spiny frill cracked and broken in many places. The statue is about 10 feet tall, but looks much more imposing perched on the granite block.
Is that all I can tell?
That's what I got.
Hmm.
Other than the wolves and the thunder, do I hear anything else? Anything coming from the mansion?
Total silence.
I think Ramis would walk towards the collapsed part of the building to be able to like try and see.
Same.
And
That's where I want to go.
Really
Yeah.
quick, what was the other kind of dragon statue that we passed by?
With a dragon.
she just said it was a dragon.
It just was dragon. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's called dragon.
Mm-hmm. It's just a dragon.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much it.
What do you guys see over by the collapse portion?
Are you not coming with?
I'm standing by the statue right now. I'm just checking it out.
Okay.
You guys said you were going over there. That's fine. It's not that far according to the picture.
Oh, hold on. I'm just opening up a couple quick resources for myself. that Ryan's gonna try his hardest to not look at, which I appreciate.
Look at those eyes.
Yeah, he's trying his hardest, which I appreciate. Yeah, so you make your way over to the collapsed part of the mansion, and you can see that it looks like rubble is strewn throughout this entire side of the house. There's a partial collapse of a bunch of rooms. And it just kind of looks like dust and cobble everywhere. You can see into like a couple of the rooms in the mansion, but most of them are kind of dusty, filled with cobwebs and rubble. You don't see anything of note.
Is it?
There used to be a stable over here, it looks like. There's a blackened beam of a wooden stable. It looks like it's burned to its stone foundation. And looming above all that wreckage is the partially collapsed south end of the mansion. And all three of the floors are exposed to the elements. Nothing of value that you can note.
Could I do some kind of investigation check where I see if anyone has recently walked the property?
Yeah, so you can sort of inspect around and kind of check out the premises.
Okay.
You don't really notice anything too much, but you do see kind of in the main path area of you guys walking up. It's like this dirt road, right? That asphalt road that leads to like where the entrance is and that dragon is sitting. And there's like a circular path around that dragon. You can see some like kind of dust and hoof prints. Looks like maybe horses have been here at some point. That was not that long ago.
Could I tell how long not that long ago is? Like, is it days? Is
Not
it
really,
weeks?
because everything is super misty, foggy, dusty. So none of the tracks really are preserved super well.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's like the fact that you can see them at all means that the wind hasn't swept it away.
Okay. I would let the group know, and I would want to kind of go towards those tracks and towards that entrance.
The tracks are just kind of around that circular area. They don't actually lead anywhere.
Didn't you say they were kind of towards the entrance?
Yeah, so there's there's a dragon, right? And then there's
Yeah.
like a circle around it. So there's like, you come in, there's like a circle around the dragon, then there's go to the entrance of the house. So the tracks are kind of all over there. There's nothing, they're like they have multiple directions, like there's nothing obvious to discern.
Okay.
I think we should go knock on the door.
Why use doors? Here's our entrance.
Are you pointing to the
You guys
collapse
want to
part?
go
Just like-
to the door or in through the
We're just pointing to the gaping hole in the side of the building.
Yeah, all right.
collapsed rubble?
I don't want you to hurt yourself.
But I thought we could see into the floors, so there's like,
You can,
Barely
it's
over
covered
there.
in lots and lots of cobwebs, like thick cobweb.
Like, oh.
Hmm.
Yeah, so the area that you can see into, it looks like almost kind of like ballroom type almost. That's what this room, it's like a large, big room, but it is like completely, like this would be difficult terrain type of cobwebs.
wait. Why? That's.
I feel like we should not go into the super thick, super cobwebby area and maybe try the front door.
Does that strike Ramis as like an inordinate amount of cobwebs, like an unnatural amount of cobwebs?
I mean, cobwebs are natural.
But they're not usually blocking thoroughfares. They're not usually thick enough that it'd be like a wall.
Yeah.
You've definitely seen cobwebs that are like very thick like this before, but generally, and Ramis is able to discern without rolling any dice, cobwebs this thick mean spiders.
I think I've seen this puppet show before.
Potentially giant spiders.
Hey, front door? Front door, guys?
Front door.
Well, there are spiders here, but who knows what's behind the front door?
There are flagstone steps flanked by stone railings climbing to a landing in the front of a pair of tall wooden doors. with rusted iron bands and knockers that are shaped like tiny dragons. And carved into the lintel above the entrance is the word Argynvost. Are you guys going up the steps?
Yeah.
Does anyone know what Argynvost Holt means?
I'll take a history check.
Someone who's smart.
I'm
You
pretty
do have a lower DC. You should
Oh.
roll.
Oh,
I've got a 17 on history.
Are we all rolling or are we just all looking at Ramin?
Yeah, so Ramis knows exactly what this means. It means, kind of loosely, it means silver dragon hold. Or silver lord hold, really. Doesn't actually necessarily reference dragon. You've seen a lot of dragons, so you assume there's some dragon stuff going on. But it means like silver lord hold.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
You hear, so the party ascends the steps, and all of you hear behind you,
oh God.
the sound of like granite and stone like sliding against each other. I can't replicate this sound, but you can imagine what it sounds like. And a cold air suddenly pushes at your backs, and you all feel a cold wind sort of pushing at you from behind.
Like towards the door.
Yeah. And you look, if anyone looks behind them, I assume at least someone turns around. You can see that the dragon statue has actually opened its mouth, and a like cold air is being exhaled from the dragon's mouth. It's harmless, but you feel cold air on your backs.
No other part of the dragon is moving, just the mouth open.
Just the mouth.
And it's the statue that we saw in front of the mansion?
Mhm.
Okay.
Reese is like,
Arcana check, actually.
Oh.
All right. Ooh, 8.
Hmm.
Not having a
15.
good day.
team. Nathan. Roll
And
our damn it.
No more information to be discerned.
Uh,
No.
Ramis like pulls his collar over his neck and says, should we face the spiders or see what this dragon does?
I'm curious about this dragon.
Me too. Mhm.
Yeah. Let's hold something under the breath and see what happens to it.
Should we not just go inside and see what happens?
The dragon closes its mouth.
Oh. We didn't approach it, right?
Mm-mm.
I investigated it initially, but
Should we just open the door?
yeah.
Okay, Ramis opens the door. The door is unlocked and can be pushed open to reveal a dark foyer. And this room feels like a king's tomb. There's a grand staircase leading up to the stone balconies held aloft by stone pillars and arches. A tall faded tapestry depicting a noble man in silver armor hangs from an iron rod above the staircase landing. 6 sets of double doors lead from this foyer. So there's a bunch of doors that are in here. I'm actually not going to give you guys a map. There is one. I am very intentionally turning this into theater of the mind for reasons that will be clear to you later. But there are a bunch of doors. So if you guys want to explore some rooms, we'll definitely do that. Along the walls, displayed on marble pedestals, are 3 alabaster busts of handsome men. A 4th bust and its pedestal have been knocked over, and their shattered remains are strewn across the mosaic floor. There are 2 chandeliers of wrought iron hanging from the ceiling like monstrous black spiders.
Wrought iron.
Wow.
You can
like,
assume that
painting.
this portrait is of a lord. Is maybe the lord who
silver lord.
reside in this mansion. So you guys are in this foyer. The foyer sort of has a bunch of doors on both sides that lead to certain locations. On the right side, which is south, so like you're entering the building and you're kind of like walking east to enter the building. The building kind of the south side is the rubble side, it's the collapsed side. So you know that the doors on the right-hand side of you, on the southern side, are going to lead to those to that room full of cobwebs.
Would that mean that we're entering through? No, you said the east end. Okay.
Yeah, so you're traveling east as you enter into the house. So you are walking east as you enter in.
Oh, I thought we were going west.
No, you are walking east.
So should
Okay.
we go north, away from the cobwebs?
So we can be ambushed later?
ambushed by cob spiders.
I would rather deal with the threat immediately on
Why
our
don't we
terms.
just go through the fucking cobwebs.
Well, because I want to fight through cobwebs.
I'm
Front
gonna
entrance
I'm
didn't
gonna
have
throw
cobwebs.
a firebolt onto the cobwebs.
You don't see cobwebs.
There's
No,
no
I don't.
cobwebs.
Why are we
We
talking
need
about cobwebs then?
We're inside.
Yeah,
No.
we're talking about the cobwebs that
You're
were
in the foyer. Yeah.
in the rubble
Front entrance
section.
room. There's doors on both sides. There's actually 6 sets of doors that lead to various locations. There's doors to your right and doors to your left. There's a beautiful double staircase right in front of you. And the doors, there's 2 sets of doors that lead south into the area that you guys kind of saw from the outside that's filled with lots of cobwebs.
Yeah, so I say we go south and deal with the spiders. Nate or the old man can set the whole building on fire.
I wasn't gonna set the building on fire.
Why are we here looking for a fight with beasts? We can just ignore them.
True.
Because they're spiders and they're probably hungry and we're encroaching upon their territory.
Sounds like you want to encroach a little bit more.
Yeah, let us not encroach them.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Does
I'm
that open
watching
the
our
door or
backs.
not?
No, I will watch our backs though.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I will be ever vigilant and ready to strike at any fuzzy black thing with more than 2 legs.
What is the
What about the bipedal spiders?
I'm going to I'm gonna walk up to Zug. Zug, what weapon are you using right now?
Why, my trusty axe that I've had all my life.
You haven't upgraded this the entire time.
I've
we've
never
been
had to
together.
even sharpen this axe. It's so
I
dear
don't
to me.
know if I should be impressed or terrified. Do you mind if I look at it for a moment?
I consider for a second, and then I hand over the axe, but I'm like real close. while you're inspecting.
Sorry, Kane looks at it for a moment. He holds it in his hand. It's pretty heavy for Kane, but he can still hold it. And he waves his hand across it, and a glittery blue light kind of shines on the weapon for a moment. and you see kind of a fate aura remaining on it. I've cast magic weapon on it. It is now considered a magical weapon with a +1 to roll and +1 to damage.
Nice.
Hey,
Yeah.
and it's also a flashlight.
And it's sparkly.
Or
Oh,
I mean, I'm sorry,
Sparkly.
a torch.
uh,
Is this permanent or is this?
No, it is not permanent. It's
Oh,
it's concentration spell up to an hour.
Nice.
and
okay.
Doug has a nice glittery blue new axe.
Thank you for the blue.
Welcome, Zug. Use it well.
Okay, shall we head north then?
Yes.
Okay. You guys head north and you open up a nearby door to reveal a wood paneled den that has been ransacked. Its furnishings have been tossed about, and there's a cold, dark hearth that dominates the west wall between two narrow windows. And standing upright against the north wall is a sarcophagus made of black wood with a queen's effigy carved into its lid. So essentially, you see there is a den, there's a fireplace, a hearth, and there's a sarcophagus made of black wood.
Does that seem normal
No.
to Ramis? Like he's like, oh yes, in this kind of den, in this time period, in this kind of place, they always keep their sarcophagi.
This sarcophagus, this black wood sarcophagus, has been kind of converted, as much as you can tell as you enter the room, into a wine
bed.
cabinet.
Oh,
Wine
shit.
cabinet, you
That's-
say.
But now there is only shattered wine glasses and decanters on the shelves.
Classic
And then-
Barovia.
The den's
Damn
other
it.
furnishing includes some rotted divans, some broken chairs, some overturned ottomans, smashed oil lamps. As you enter into the room, the fireplace, the dark hearth, is completely soot-choked and clogged with piles of ash. However, though the fireplace has obviously long been abandoned and shows no recent signs of use, you all notice a single tiny ember struggling for life among the ash.
Hmm.
Could I do an investigation check to see how recently the fire was put out?
You want to investigate the fireplace.
Yes.
Okay. So upon closer inspection, again, there's no recent signs of use at all, which is really interesting that you'd see this little ember here. And you notice that the ember sluggishly pulls bits of ash toward itself as if it knows it won't survive much longer, but is unwilling to give up.
Jesus.
Neat.
I think
Okay.
can Ramis. I think Ramis's initial knee-jerk reaction, he would walk up and prestidigitate like a soft breath to try and stoke the flame of the ember.
Oh, so you're gonna try to
Help it.
help it.
I think that would like Ramis would be like, oh, fireplace, oh, let's use some magic to light it up.
Nice.
Yeah. So you essentially feed the poor little ember, and you like blow on it a little bit to sort
Just
of.
like through his hand with magic. It's,
Okay.
It's cooler than him just simply blowing.
Okay, so you try to heat it up a little bit.
Supply with oxygen, yes.
Okay, so you supply it with oxygen, and the ember sort of bursts to life. But then as soon as the oxygen source is gone, it sort of fades back down a little bit.
Can I stick my finger in it?
God.
You're gonna touch the ember?
Yeah.
Yeah, so as you attempt to touch it, it seems to panic and roll around in a desperate attempt to escape. It tries to crawl away from you.
there's more to this ember than simply a burning piece of fuel.
This ember like seems sad.
I'll retract my finger. I want to place some wood in the fireplace. Is there anything made of wood?
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff made of wood. The whole sarcophagus is actually made of wood, and there's pieces of wood on the floor.
This reminds me of calcifer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is literally calcifer.
I'm taking this with me.
Oh, the little cute little embers thing.
Yeah.
That is
That eats
exactly,
everything.
that's exactly what we're going for.
Oh,
I wanna
Well
gather
met.
some wood and like place it right next to him.
So
Mm,
yeah.
I also have a mirror in my possession. I want to use it to like fan the flame a little bit.
Okay, so Zug provides a little bit of scrap wood, and Syndra fans the flame a little bit, and the ember starts to grow, and it grows furiously, and it very quickly assumes the shape of a small dragon with wings made of smoke.
Ooh.
The flaming figure also glows a peculiar white blue, and its aura feels cool instead of hot.
Okay, now I stick my finger in it.
So you reach for it, and the dragon suddenly takes off, soaring past you in a flurry of cold air and choking smoke. It immediately leaves the room and flies out into the foyer, leaving a scorched path behind it.
Mm.
You should chase
Can
after it.
you send your owl after it?
Sure.
That?
I'll have my owl follow and keep an eye on where it's actually going.
Okay, so
Good
your
call.
owl follows it, and it follows it upstairs, where and it goes up these big, beautiful stone stairs. And let me get my footing on my location.
Mhm.
And it doesn't just go up the first flight of stairs; it actually keeps going. And Kane is seeing this. It goes up a second flight of stairs. It's a 3-story mansion. You guys could see that from outside. And it flies and it flies up, 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 until it arrives almost like on like right below the rooftop. And it lands at the top of the staircase. Oh. Here we go. Sorry, I know this is hard for you to avoid looking at. And it lands in this big pile of rubble, kind of in the middle of the like middle of the house. There's a bunch of hallways and things kind of leading around from it. And it lands in this pile of rubble. And it sits there and it faces the front of the house. So it's looking west at this point, it's facing the front of the house. And it's looking into a room. So the dragon starts to get larger and larger in size. It's not so small anymore. But it sits upon a pile of rubble, dusting the debris beneath its ethereal form with frost as a now large, imposing dragon. It stares intensely at the back of a throne in a room at the top of the stairs.
The dragon is staring at a throne. Would you like to follow it? Kane looks around at the rest of the party.
I'm thinking we should. Can you tell which room?
Yeah, I mean, presumably I was looking through the owl's eyes as it was swooping its way through, and Kane knows the path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just is right up the stairs. It's actually you just climb up 2 sets of stairs, and it's kind of sitting right there.
Go right up the stairs then.
Ramis will quickly shuffle around the room looking for anything else. Any signs of Vladimir, papers, anything?
In the room that you're in,
Yeah.
you know?
as he follows everyone else up.
Nothing of interest that you can find.
Okay. we'll leave.
Yeah. So you guys are going up the stairs to follow the Ember Dragon.
Yeah.
Cool. So you approach and climb up the stairs, and as you get close, the dragon like ember spirity looking thing, it says, "Hush." It speaks. "We must speak, but not here. Come, my dear guests." And then he floats through the large doors to the north, and he floats just gently over to the north, and its spirit enters into a door that is within your sight, north.
So I know we clocked it as like this strange ethereal dragon. Did we see what kind of dragon it was at all?
It's very like it kind of is ghost-like. It kind of has taken on almost like a ghostly form at this point. So it started as this ember, and then it grew really fast, and then it sort of turned into this bluish white entity and a small dragon, and it flew out and cold air followed it. It left a scorched path underneath it up to the stairs, and as it was going up the stairs, the owl could see it's growing larger and larger in size until it sits in the middle of the area and it rests. What does it look like? It's kind of spectral, doesn't really look fiery anymore, doesn't look like an ember anymore, kind of looks like a very imposing, it's actually quite large, it's like bigger than a horse now. Dragon.
I think Ramis will remind the group, being the bard. Dragons can be the most cunning of evil, or sometimes the greatest good. We know not what kind of dragon this is.
So you're saying there's a 50-50 chance?
There's a 50-50 chance we all die. Yes.
And just to sort of describe, the roof over this part of the mansion has collapsed, creating kind of a 20-foot diameter hole with rafters that are bisecting it. So you guys are actually kind of like looking at a bunch of rubble, and there's a hole in the ground. Sorry, a hole in the ceiling, not in the ground. And you can actually see above you, because the roof is collapsed, that there are dark storm clouds rolling across the sky overhead. And that floor that the dragon was sitting on is piled with rocks and broken tiles and some shattered beams and other debris. And beneath the rubble, there's actually kind of like a sagging puddle of rainwater feeling that you guys are standing on.
This
So-
seems unstable.
So the dragon basically tells you, "Come, friends, like we must speak, but not here." And after kind of staring out to the north, so the dragon is staring, not north, the dragon is staring into this room that's facing the front of the house. And the front of the house at this point to you guys is to the west. And the dragon says, "Let's go into this room to the north."
So the room that we're in now with the...
You're not really in a room. You're kind of just in the middle of the stairwell. Like you just came to the
Okay.
top of the stairwell.
At the top of the stairwell?
There's an open room at the front towards the front of the house. That's to the west. And like you come up the stairs and you're like kind of facing it. And that's where the dragon was staring. Like he was just gazing out at a throne that's in that room. And then,
Okay.
as you guys came up the stairs, he said, "Shh, we must go speak somewhere else." And then he veers off to the north and heads off to a different room.
Well, as long as it's not the south.
Not south, no.
Okay, yeah.
All right, we
there
follow
you go. Yeah. Let's do it.
Ramis cautiously
Towards the dragon.
his party mates.
Okay, so you guys all follow the dragon. And this room is a haven for dust and cobwebs. There are 3 narrow windows that allow slivers of light to illuminate the bare oak shelves along the walls. And there's a torn padded chair lying on its side near a cavernous hearth. And a picture of the mantle has been slashed its lower half is sort of hanging below the frame like a torn piece of flesh. There's an iron door set in the south corner of the west wall, and there's an open hinge that's there. And you hear the sort of soft flapping sound of wings, even though the dragon isn't flapping. And basically, you see the giant sort of spirit sitting in the middle of the room facing you.
I will be the first to step inside.
You step inside. And
How's the floor look?
it looks okay. So the cobwebs in here are much more normal in size.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So you're all going in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So he basically, so you all walk in and he says, "Welcome. Thank you for assisting me." He says, "My soul has been slowly slipping away over these centuries. I appreciate the help." And he sighs. "What are you all doing here in my order?"
We were sent here
Hmm.
by a revenant in the forests. Actually, we were sent twice. The second time was, it seemed rather upset that we had yet to fulfill its request.
The dragon kind of shakes his head a couple of times and he says, "Yes, there is some kind of corruption in and around this castle, and it is causing my order to become corrupt themselves. This was my order. This was a brotherhood of the valorous. And we battled corruption. We could not have known that we would fail and become corruption ourselves." He sighs again. "I came to this land many eons ago in hopes of helping the land. My name is Argynvost. Many years ago, I founded this prestigious order of the Silver Dragon. Many were initiated into my order and told of my true nature. And you see his body transforms in front of you into the portrait of the man that you saw in the photo in the stairwell. My true nature was not known to all, but eventually, during the war between Strahd and all of his foes, ourselves included, we drove away malefactors searching for the Amber Temple. But early victories of our order did not win the war. My knights and my initiated were ultimately overwhelmed when Strahd's reinforcements swept into the valley. Those forces slew the last of the knights, and they battled with not only my knights, but myself. I was slain that day. Since then, My order, my brethren, they have fallen. The hatred and rage corrupted their hearts. They have returned as revenants, sworn to avenge the destruction of the order. We are dead and yet we live. Macabre profanities of nature, only slightly better than Strahd himself. And my knights can no longer hear me, but I can hear them. Their hatred burns like a brand against what is left of my soul. I fear that Strahd's soul, after my defeat, was taken by something, some dark power. And that is why he is the way that he is now. He pauses.
He said that after Strahd killed him, Strahd's soul became what it is now.
Mhm. So he's telling you that he was here before Strahd was a vampire.
It was a long time ago.
Mhm.
But then why was he battling Strahd?
Strahd was a bad guy even before he was a vampire.
Okay.
Hmm.
How is it that
He always sucked.
Strahd was able to defeat you, a silver dragon, before he had this power?
He says, yes, Strahd's forces have been strong. They have always been strong. He has something that is on his side. I don't know exactly what it is, but I believe that same dark power is part of what is corrupting my own order. So, and it was not Strahd who slayed me, but it was many knights who slayed me. It took many to take me down. Trust you, I put up a fight and I killed hundreds of his army. The forces eventually forced their way into my hold and slew the last of my knights, and they battled here. I battled here.
This corruption keeps you here as a spirit. Is that what you mean?
There is something. My order, my most prized knights, have been corrupted. I cannot find peace until they find peace.
Hmm.
Where are they?
He looks at you curiously, like as if to signify you haven't seen them yet. They are here.
And what would you have us do?
We would like to assist if we can.
The corruption, it stems from the darkened beacon in my high tower. I'm fairly sure the corrupted beacon is what is causing my knights to not find the peace that they deserve as the undead, but I do not know what actually caused the corruption. There is a darkness here.
Is that why you asked us away from the main wing of the house.
Well, I asked you here because my knights, as I aforementioned, they are corrupted. They are not who they once were. In fact, I don't think that they even remember who they once were, who they fought for, what they fought for, who they loved. Whatever is broken must be fixed.
Perhaps we can travel to this darkened beacon. Is there a way we can cleanse it?
Perhaps. I believe that that corrupted beacon is what is causing my knights their turmoil. It may be worth investigating, but I am still not sure what has caused this corruption.
Hmm.
Perhaps we shall go for a bit of a walk.
Hmm.
One moment, Kane. Your knights under this corruption must be formidable.
They are very. It is the strength of their spirits that brought them back from the dead. They are strong both in mind and in body. I do not believe that they will harm you unprovoked, but the seeds of corruption now are sown farther than I can travel.
Do you
There is-
know?
Mhm.
Do you know of anything of the spiders that inhabit this mansion?
He cocks his head at you. I do not. Are there spiders in my mansion?
Oh yeah, huge ones.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that is an unfortunate situation that needs to be dealt with.
I'll add it to the list.
He nods.
Ah,
There is one knight whose strength of spirit I know may be strong enough to maintain a sense of his former self. You should seek out Sir Godfrey. He must be around here somewhere.
We haven't seen much of the mansion, so I'm sure we'll run into him.
how might we recognize Sir Godfrey?
You will recognize Sir Godfrey because he will not attack you.
Well, I thought you said none of them would unprovoked.
He certainly will not.
I do not like this lack of clarity.
Make sure that when you approach, you keep your weapons by your sides. If you show peace, I do not believe that my knights will take any issue with you. You said that you ran into one of my knights.
Mm,
He certainly did not attack you, did he?
no.
My knights were good. They were the best. Even with the corruption seeding their souls, and even with their bodies being shells of what they once were, they can still hold on. And that is why it is so important right now. It is so important to end this corruption and lay their souls to rest, because if they continue to become corrupted, if this continues to deteriorate them, no one knows what will happen, not even I.
Do your knights currently appear to be human?
My knights died ages ago, fighting in battle alongside me.
Mhm.
They are no longer human.
Can you tell us what species they are, or what they appear to be by sight?
You said you ran into one, did you not?
Yes.
So
A
you-
dragon, not a biologist.
The Revenant was humanoid, right? That we ran into.
It was a revenant, yeah. I mean, a revenant is a thing all on its own. Yeah, it's like an undead humanoid.
He's an undead boy.
It is worth asking. You are a dragon after all.
Hmm. I was a dragon. I don't know what I am anymore.
Well, you still very much appear as a dragon.
My spirit has held on to something at the very least.
Yes.
And you all get this, like, although he's very well spoken and articulate, you can all sense like just utter tragedy in his like voice and tone. Like this is a creature who has lost absolutely everything, and all he wants at this point is for his people to be laid to rest well, so that they are no longer suffering. But he's also saying if you don't do anything about it, he has no idea what kind of power his knights will gain. And as they deteriorate and become less of themselves, they're becoming something else.
But they're like hell bent on killing, like on vengeance,
Vengeance for what?
for getting slain, for the cause being upended.
Hmm.
Well, and apparently there's some corrupted beacon
Yeah.
that's
We should
possibly affecting them in
Make
a
page and, like,
negative way.
roll like a Trojan horse full of them to Strahd's castle and just let them go.
Just be like, hey, this way to vengeance.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. You are the first of anything we have run into in this house. How might we best find our way through the many, many rooms?
He says, most likely on this floor is where you will find Sir Godfrey. He might be in the room right next to ours. It might be worth a look.
Very well.
Go have a look-see. You're just gonna back step out of the room.
So you guys leave,
Bow.
bow in respect. And you guys have actually all noticed that as you have been talking with Argynvost, that his size is actually like slowly getting a little smaller. It's like he's already starting to fade.
As I notice this, I'm gonna ask, like, do you want any more wood?
This, I believe that my time and my place here is coming to a close.
We will avenge our house.
Let's go find what's his name?
Godfrey.
Godfrey. Okay.
Do we want to check out that throne room first?
Let's go in the room he told us to go to.
Oh. I assume that was the room
Oh,
because he said it was right next to it.
could be.
Yeah, where did he say to go?
Go to the room that he was implying.
He implied that it was the room next to this one. So when you leave the study, you can see there's sort of an open room with the back of a throne that you can see, which is where he was staring out to. And then there's like a small hallway with another door near the study as well.
Can Ramis pop his head in and be like, which room were you referring to?
You pop your head in and it is an empty room.
Oh my god. Fine.
DM ghost dragons.
Why is he so unspecific? Thought they have like in 20 or something. All right. We go to the throne room then, since that's where Zug wanted to go.
Okay, you guys head to the open room with the throne. So this room, and give me just a quick moment to pull up all my quick little things. So you sort of traverse the rubble again and walk over the pile of rubble and debris into the open room that has a throne. And the throne is facing away from you guys. It's facing towards the windows. And you guys remember that initial image that has like the front of the mansion. The throne is like looking out the giant windows that are facing the front of the mansion.
Facing the dragon statue, right?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. And the west wall of this 50-foot long, 30-foot wide audience hall has crumbled, leaving a gaping hole in a pile of rubble. There are weapons and shields that once hung from the walls have fallen to the floor and succumbed to rust. There's a large wooden throne carved to resemble a dragon with unfolding wings, facing the 3 tall windows to the west. And slumped in the throne is a gaunt armored figure with one gauntlet wrapped around the hilt of a great sword. This sort of figure looks very dead.
All right.
If I had a nickel.
It looks like a corpse hunched over a like very ornate, beautiful sword.
Ooh, ornate, beautiful sword.
Hey, Zug,
Mm.
you see that ornate, beautiful sword over there?
In armor, sort of hunkering there and just sitting there. And it's like not moving at all.
I'm gonna look to my group and
Armor.
just like, should I? This doesn't look like a trap, does it?
It doesn't look like a trap.
Sure does to me.
Well, I asked my group that.
I think Ramis will just shout out.
Are you a trap?
Just a greeting. Ahoy! Hello.
No response.
Can I take a piece of like a pebble or something and flick it over?
Yeah, you pick up a piece of debris and you flick it over. Athletics?
At the armor. Yeah, so it clangs.
Yeah, but you're throwing something, so roll athletics.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you say roll. Athletics. 9.
Hey.
My roll was lower than my bonus.
You throw a piece of rubble and it lands on the floor before it hits the corpse.
That was pathetic.
Zug, are you sure you'll be able to carry such a beastly weapon? Maybe you should stick to the axe.
I want to pick up Kane and throw him. You know, I'll step inside the room. Cautiously. How's the floor look?
Old.
Sagging and rotted.
Okay. Can I slowly step into the room and I want to like test the floor with my foot?
Yeah, so you step into the room and you sort of press down on the floor with your foot and it feels pretty stable.
Okay. As I'm like in the room, can you describe the room anymore?
Yeah, I already did, but I
Besides-
can describe it again if
Yeah,
you'd like.
Sorry, just another quick one.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. The west wall of this 50-foot long, 30-foot wide audience hall has crumbled, leaving a gaping hole and a pile of rubble. Weapons and shields that once hung from the walls have fallen to the floor and succumbed to rust. A large wooden throne, carved to resemble a dragon with unfolding wings, faces 3 tall windows to the west. Slumped in the throne is a gaunt armored figure with one gauntlet wrapped around the hilt of a greatsword, an ornate greatsword. This figure looks like a corpse.
Okay. You said there is a gaping hole. Is that in the middle of the room or?
Oh, sorry, that's in the ceiling.
Okay.
Hmm.
Could I investigate the thing that looks like a corpse?
Yeah. So you want to go up to it and just kind of inspect it and check it out?
Going to roll?
There's no rolling for investigation in this scenario. There's just like, what do you see?
Yeah, your investigation roll is pointless.
Great. Yes, my +9 is pointless.
Well, here's the deal. Like, you're gonna be able to see more the closer you get. So how close are you getting?
Ooh.
Uh-oh. Theater of the mind be damned.
5 feet away.
Okay. So you get up about 5 feet away and you see what looks like a sagging. I mean, are you like behind it? Or are you in front of it? Like you have to tell me what you're gonna do.
In front of it, I guess?
So you walk around the throne in front of it.
Just
Yeah,
poke it.
Yes. Yes.
it's a corpse. It's a fucking corpse. You know?
I'd
Um,
want to get to the best vantage point to investigate the corpse.
Okay, so you walk over to it and go stand in front of it and you look at it and it looks like a corpse in armor, wearing armor, holding a sword.
Can I smell anything? Does it smell like a rotting corpse? Or does it just look like a skeleton of somebody?
It looks and smells not great.
All right.
Okay. I would like to approach it closer. And
Get in
I want to
there.
get within a foot of it.
Yeah, so you sort of walk up to it cautiously, and the corpse reaches out and grabs your arm and pulls you close to it.
Cool. Okay.
Ah. Who
And
didn't
it
see
grumbles at you and it
Uh-oh.
says, "A corpse should be left well alone."
A corpse should be in the ground, not sitting on a throne.
Godfrey?
Are you
I
yelling at it?
Godfrey?
Godfrey.
At this point, it stands up out of the chair and it like clinks and clamors. And it's like 7 feet tall. Like, it is big.
That's a big boy.
great.
And it is holding a gigantic, like, pretty sword.
So it's just holding you off the ground? What's
It's
happening?
just like-
It's like still holding her arm in its hand. And it's like pulled her close to it.
I'm gonna chop off my own arm and then back away.
Worth it.
And it lets go as it stands up. It lets go of you. And it turns back and it looks at Ramis. And it says, "No."
Okay, bye.
Wait,
Sorry,
what?
we're just
Just
looking
no?
for him. Just looking for him.
Yeah, so I would say we were sent by Argenvost, to speak with Godfrey. We apologize for disturbing you.
He huffs a little bit and he says, Argenvost has been dead for eons.
His spirit is alive and has addressed us. I swear to it.
Why do you seek Godfrey?
We seek revenge for the house of Argenvost.
He turns, armor like shuffling. The greatest revenge has already been enacted.
And yet your house lies in ruin. Your leader, presumably, one of their last acts was to have us find Godfrey. Would you defy him so readily?
Strahd is living in his own personal hell of his own creation. Nothing should change.
Why
Strahd's
should-
damnation has already been enacted. There is no further punishment that can be achieved.
But you and your brothers should not be similarly damned, no?
Nor should the people of Barovia.
Unfortunate sacrifices for Strahd's damnation.
We have no quarrel here. We have no quarrel with your belief. But we must find Godfrey.
It matters little. The years will pass, and you will see the truth as I have seen it. And he sits back down in his chair and slumps over.
Perhaps we should leave this be for now until we find who we've been sent to find. This is clearly not Godfrey.
No. Sindra, shall we go? Maybe.
Perhaps tiptoe away slowly.
And yeah, this is a like very large revenant sitting in this giant throne. Like clearly this particular person was a leader of the ranks here. Like it is obvious to you that this person was of great value and was it is also obvious to you that he would probably wipe the floor with all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got that.
No.
We already got that.
Yeah.
Everybody kills us.
Pretty much everything can wipe the floor with us.
Not everything. You
That
guys have
mop in
actually
the
done pretty
Corner
well
can
for
wipe the floor
yourselves.
with us.
But this one is definitely like you don't have to like figure it out. Like this one is pretty clear.
Before we leave
And-
the room, could I look at that dragon carving in the wall that you'd mentioned?
There is not a dragon carving in the wall.
Is it a
The
statue?
throne is carved to resemble a dragon with unfolding.
Okay. Could I investigate the throne from behind?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a it's a carved throne, and it has like very cool sort of wings that are coming out from behind. And yeah, it kind of looks like the back of like what a dragon would look like, but made of wood.
Okay. Could I sense any kind of magic or any kind of extra something, or does it just look like a carved dragon with his
Do you
wings?
have detect magic?
You
I
know
don't
that
believe
I
so,
do, so you
Mm,
could
but-
always bug somebody.
Here you go. Can I poke Kane and be like, yo, hey bruh,
I don't know. Can you?
you wanna check this? Check this out?
What do you say?
I'll be like, hey, Kane. Check this out.
Yes, Sindra, what
Notice
is it?
anything else?
I was closing my eyes briefly. What would you like?
Wake up. Ugh. I'll give him a harder jab, and then I'll be like, hey, can you check this throne out? Give us any more insights than what I can only grasp with my
Yes, it
Non-magic
appears to be
eye.
stone. Did you have trouble discerning that, Sindra? I'm very surprised you're such a bright young woman.
I'm gonna smack him on the shoulder. Just on the shoulder, lightly on the shoulder. A playful smack.
Well, fine.
Kane pulls out his wand of detect magic and casts it upon himself.
Thank you.
And Kane investigates this carving that Cinder's talking about.
It's a wooden throne.
It's a wooden throne, Sindra. I'm afraid I have no further insights. I will keep an eye out, though, now that I have used my wand.
So after you cast detect magic, Vladimir stands up again. Oh, I didn't tell you his name. His name's Vladimir. He stands up and he faces you.
Hello again.
Great.
You're even taller than you appear to be. Quite impressive. We shall be on our way.
He squints at you guys. There's something in his face, something that has changed. What do I want to convey? There's something that tells you he's like the initial conversation that you guys had. You got the impression that he was like, you're a fly in my orbit. And now he's concerned, like there's concern and like eyebrow raise, if a corpse could do that. And he
has to physically
addresses
raise it.
he addresses all of you and like slowly like turns to each of you as he speaks. If you have come here to free this land from the creature that feasts on the blood of the innocent, know this. There is no monster I hate more than Strahd von Zorovich. He slew Argynvost, broke the life of the knight I loved, and destroyed the valiant order to which I devoted my life. But Strahd has already died once. He cannot be allowed to die again. He must suffer eternally in a hell of his own creation, from which he can never escape. Whatever can be done to bring him misery and unrest, I will do. But I will destroy anyone who tries to end his torment.
Even if it means freeing the people of this country? from a life of misery and pain and suffering?
I have already told you. Unfortunate sacrifices. I myself am a sacrifice for this cause.
In your opinion, what is the best way to destroy him?
He just gave you an entire speech about how you cannot
wanna
destroy
destroy.
Strahd.
Yeah. So like what is our last option?
He wants us to leave him because his punishment that he's currently living is the worst thing that could possibly happen.
No,
to
I
him.
just wanted to make sure that that was conveyed, and it was. Okay.
I think, yeah, Ramis would
No, he
just say-
says, he replies to Sindra.
Oh, no.
So like do you ask like what's the best way to destroy him, or like do you ask like what is our other like option?
Yeah, what's our other option? What is the option? The
Like
only
what
option?
do we do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing.
Okay.
Brave knight, even if we wanted to slay Strahd, among us we do not have the power. You need not worry about the threat we pose to him.
Yes, I'm afraid detect magic is not known for its deadliness.
Vlad seems pleased with Ramis's response.
We will go looking for Godfrey now.
As you mentioned the name Godfrey, you can see anguished recognition shining in his eyes.
We will. Ramis just.
We need to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, Ramis just starts like.
Gotta get the hell out of
That's
Dodge.
fine.
Yeah, like he looks like really sullen and sad at the mention
Aw.
of Godfrey.
I'm sorry, buddy. Is that the night he loved? Probably. Ramis exits the room.
Okay, you guys head out of there, and he seems satisfied with your response.
Cool.
Like
Woo!
he's like convinced that you're not strong enough to do anything about it.
You're little bitches.
Yeah. We've got a dude with like a viola strapped to his back and a guy with a magic wand.
Although, hold on, you did detect something magical as you were sort of circling around the throne. The throne itself wasn't magical, but the weapon lit up with a blue aura. Magical weapon.
Hey, Zug, just FYI, that weapon back there was magical.
His great sword,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that big
the
sword.
one he's holding.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
You
but
didn't
yeah.
think I didn't notice?
Toad's magical, Doug.
Definitely
One
magical,
he's
just in case.
holding.
Yes, I noticed. Thank you, old man.
You knew that was magical? Tell me more. I need
It
to
was
know your
glowing.
secrets.
It was glowing.
Was it?
You just
Was
told
that-
me it was glowing.
Was
It
the
was
sword
glowing.
glow?
Yeah. Well, to the detect magic. Like
Right.
to Kane, it looked glowing. Yeah.
Yeah, Zug had no fucking idea.
Okay,
I mean,
so
it definitely
bitch.
looks like impressive.
because I mean it was the only like non-rusted weapon in the room, right?
Yeah, all the other weapons had like fallen on the ground and were
You
rusted,
said they're
yeah.
yeah. But yes, I did notice. I will make a mental note.
Can Ramis head to the only other room that could have been the next room over?
Yeah. So you traverse down the hallway a little bit on the northern side of the mansion, and you see a door, a closed door. Yeah, and you can go in if you want.
Ramis opens that fucking door.
Reese opens the shut of that door. Okay. So Reese opens the door, and through the dust and cobwebs, you see faded war banners adorning the walls of a spacious chamber. In the center of which stands a heavy wooden table. There is an iron chandelier hanging above the table, which is surrounded by 6 high-backed chairs with wood-carved dragons perched on top of them. There's a lot of dragons in this house, you guys.
Mhm.
Slumped in 5 of the 6 chairs are skeletal humans in tattered chainmail. The corpses tilt their heads in your direction.
Like actively, or they just happen to be resting?
Ooh.
Nope. Actively.
Zog, that chainmail's
All of
definitely
them.
not magical.
And one of them growls towards Ramis. Why do you, the living, disturb the dead?
We were sent here by one of your brothers. We have met with your lord, Argenbost. We are seeking Godfrey.
A tall, thin revenant pushes back his chair and stands up. And speaks in a very scratchy voice. And I have a picture
Please.
of Godfrey, actually.
Wow. Except for the whole, dead thing. Good God.
I'll,
Oh
Oh.
boy. Okay.
Ooh.
All right. Great.
Oh,
He's like a little panda. He's got his
He's,
black-
Yeah.
he is an ugly motherfucker.
Looks like he has some ashy skin.
Gonna need some lotion for that.
cool. So you see Sir Godfrey, which I
Mhm.
posted him in the Discord chat as well. And he stands up and he has a very scratchy voice. But it's kind of kind. Oh, give me a second to pull up my thing. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so you what happened to my thing? I had a whole thing. Oh, here we go. It's just in the thing, I see. Sweet. I'm gonna stop the share. Cool. So you guys have seen what he looks like.
Mm-hmm.
He stands up and he says, "You have spoken to Argenvost himself."
Yes.
He says, "Yes. Why don't we head to a different room and we can speak?" And he stands up and pushes a chair, and the other revenants all kind of cautiously eye you all as he gets up and leaves. And he starts to sort of weave you through some of the tunnels in the house. And he starts to speak, and he says, "How have you spoken to Argenvost?"
Our friend Zug here tossed a log on the fire and he appeared in the hearth.
That's a
He-
little thing. And then he turned into a big thing.
He had a few words for us, including to seek out a Godfrey.
Yes, I see. Well, it is nice to know that his spirit can still be accessed in this house. I have not heard from or seen our dear Argenvost in ages. He says, "What did Argenvost tell you needed to be done here? why did he ask you to seek out me?
He said you would not attack us.
He lets out like a small chuckle, which like you have not seen any expression from a revenant at this point. So like this is the first time you're even seeing a revenant like make a facial expression that isn't just like anger or curiosity.
Mhm.
But perhaps more importantly, he wanted you and your brothers to be freed from this curse.
Yes. Unfortunately, we have been living in a world where we cannot escape our own defeat. There has been so much corruption here that my faith in the order has been shaken. The order is not what it once was. Most of these men do not even remember who they are or who they were. And you see like, just like his eyes glaze forlorningly, like at nothing. Yeah.
You have kept your grasp on your truth, on your being. How have you done this?
Yeah. I don't exactly know what it is about me or why my spirit has taken longer to deteriorate than the others. But I remember more than most. And he starts to lead you to sort of the back of the house. And you guys are walking through the hallways and kind of heading out towards the back octagonal tower. And he's continuing to like speak to you as you all walk. There are things that have been slowly changing. It's been a slow decline ever since the coven came and stole what was once ours. And as he kind of says this, you all make it to the tower, and it's like a huge tower, and kind of winds up, and you're sort of entering in kind of on the third level of where the tower is, and he opens up the door to where the tower is, and I want to read this correctly, so give me a second to find my beautiful description. We're going all over the place. Cool. So there are wooden stairs that climb up to this tower's peak, which has a stone floor, and there's like a 30-foot high pitched roof. Ravens are roosting on crisscrossing rafters, coming and going through small holes in the roof as he opens the door and shows it to you. There are about 10-foot high and 5-foot wide arched windows evenly spaced around the walls in the tower, and each window consists of a lead lattice work fitted with small panes of transparent glass. And you can see through the windows, the mist shrouded valley with dark woods, and there's a lonely windmill on the precipice. To the south, the river is flowing through the foggy marsh, and to the west, between rocky hills, you can see a giant abbey perched on the snowy mountainside. So you're kind of actually from this huge tall tower. So keep in mind that this entire mansion is kind of perched on top of a hill or mountain he climbed up to. You are seeing to the east, you can see the windmill. You guys remember that windmill?
Yeah, there's a
To the
forest. in
south, you
between.
can see like there's kind of like a marsh. And then to the west, you can see the Abbey of Kresk from here. Yeah, you can kind of see the town of Vallaki as well too.
And we see what's it called? Ravenloft?
Castle
Ravenloft.
Ravenloft. You can't see Castle Ravenloft from here, no.
Okay.
It's a little bit beyond where the fog lies.
It's pretty foggy out here, that's true.
It's foggy-ish. You can actually see a great deal from this tower. It's kind of a little bit above some of the misty fog that kind of coats the ground. And in this tower, you can actually sort of see that, and I want to again kind of get this right. Okay. There are a bunch of bones laid out on the ground at the bottom that you can kind of see. And they sort of scale the bottom of the tower, and it's kind of like a sky-high grave is what it looks like. And you can see like bones kind of laid out, and you can see like a tail, you can see like legs, you can see a big spine. And there's one obvious noticeable thing missing, and it's the skull.
They killed the dragon and took its skull.
So
Brutal.
Beheaded, man. It's fucked up.
yeah, Godfrey kind of opens up the tower and he says, many centuries ago, a band of enchanted plant creatures led by a small coven of witches tried to tear down Argynvost halls brick by brick. And you guys have seen the destruction of this mansion. We managed to drive them back, but the southern part of the castle suffered greatly. The witches' attack failed, but they managed to do something that has had a very long-lasting effect on our kind. This tower was once a beacon of light, a beacon of hope to the entire land of Barovia. And you guys, kind of being in this tower and seeing around you, you can see that this tower really kind of like looms above a lot. It's like very central. And this is like a landmark almost. And as it can see many of the sort of essential places in Barovia, they can also see it. And he says, this was once a beacon of light, literally a beacon of light. But though the witches' attack was not successful and they did not take down our mansion, they did manage to take the skull that lived here in this shrine to Argynvost. I don't know where they took it, but it has been gone for centuries now. All of us, myself included, some more than others, have continued to deteriorate since then. Many of us have slowly began to lose our memories, our humanity. Vladimir does not remember who I am anymore. I remember.
Sounds as though the skull must be returned.
I believe that if this skull is returned, that the beacon will in fact relight and that the rest of us can finally be laid to rest.
He was taken by witches, and did he say like tree something?
Yeah, he said that a band of enchanted plant creatures led by a small coven of witches.
We did fight
Yeah.
plant things back when we found the Raven people at
That's
the
what- that's
Wizard
right.
of Wine
Yeah.
place.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, they said that, oh gosh, it had to do with like getting the stones back that enchanted the vines.
The acorns, I think they
Yeah, there was
planted-
There
something
were
that was-
like seeds that you had heard about, like kind of magical seeds that helped keep
the
the
wine
land
grow.
going.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And at that point, yeah, the keepers of the feather actually told you that their seeds were stolen. And I can't remember if they told you who by, but they also believed that it was like druids and or witches that had stolen their seed.
Yeah, they told us to go south, but then we found out that that was super dangerous from some other thing. Oh, it was because the stick that I broke that was real gross that killed all the plant dudes.
Like
Yeah.
Said it
Matthias.
came from a tree, and that tree was down there, and that's where the plant people came from.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then that
And,
was likely where the seed, I guess. I thought it was
Yeah.
stones, but seeds.
So there's like corrupted druids that you guys have already run into, and the keepers of the feather told you that many of those corrupted druids live on Yester Hill, which is where like that big wolf died.
Yester Hill, that's right.
Yeah, but no mention of witches, though.
No.
Witches have been mentioned, but it was towards one of whatever the ladies three in the swamps or something like that.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Mordenkainen actually referred to potentially like a witch who has domain of the swamp area in the ruins of Berez, which is actually not that far from where you guys are.
Yeah.
And I will also point out, this is not something obvious, but it would be obvious if you were literally here. The skull of this dragon, based off of its size, this dragon is a large dragon.
Big boy.
The skull, like you would estimate, the skull probably weighs like 500 pounds. Like it is humongous, and would probably take a lot of literal or figurative heavy lifting. So like not any like ordinary person would be able to just like take this.
So Godfrey, do you know where these witches reside and where they may have returned to?
I do not know where they went with the skull. If I knew, I would absolutely tell you.
Believe you, I was just asking.
Have you heard of Berez?
Yes, I do know of Berez, and many Barovians have superstitions about women who go mad and turn to devil worship in the ruins of Berez. I think it's likely that something could be there, but at the same time, they are just superstitions.
Perhaps if these superstitions were to have any bearing on reality, might you have any advice for us with how to deal with these potential witches which may have taken this skull? Have you any knowledge of them?
I have no knowledge. I am sorry. However, we did fight these witches and we managed to ward them off. And though I do not know how they function, I do know that they are powerful and their ways and mechanisms are quite unfamiliar to me and to the knights in the order. In order for them to actually obtain this skull and steal it was a great feat indeed. They are not to be underestimated.
We will need to prepare, no doubt. Ramis, what do you think? Shall we add a breadcrumb to our list of tasks?
This is more than a crumb. This is a whole.
This is a 500-pound crumb.
It's a bit of a loaf.
Yeah.
Zug, are you still hungry?
Forever, my friend, forever.
Godfrey says, if it helps, know that returning the skull here and relighting this beacon, though it would pay great dividends to the order and would, I hope, allow us to rest and allow the bitter hatred that has infected the souls of my people to rest. It would also provide great hope to the people and the land.
Would you cease to be if this beacon was relit?
He smiles at you, though like his eyes, even though he's physically smiling, his eyes like look empty. And like you're kind of getting that. It's like he's managed to survive like his own tragedy, and yet he's like still really nice, but that like makes him even more like sad. He says, I can only hope. Strahd
only
will
asked-
not,
I
Strahd
only
will
asked
not
because of-
like to see the beacon relit. So
Perhaps we can go downstairs and convince your friend that we can do more to create hell for Strahd.
do you speak of Vladimir?
I
Yes.
do. He seemed quite content with the situation,
Of the status
Oh.
quo.
though we disagree in some regard. We have a bit more empathy for those stuck here in Barovia. Perhaps deserve better, even if Strahd deserves to live out his days in agony.
He looks like down, his like eyes flutter downward, and he says, do not speak of this to Vladimir. I am with you, and I believe that Strahd needs to be removed from power. Vladimir is not who he once was. Believe me. He used to be kind. He used to be noble. He used to be incredible. And like you sense like the forlorn anguish that you also sensed in Vladimir.
Yeah. I think Ramis would say he is not all lost. When we mentioned we were searching for you, he did give pause. Perhaps that is of some comfort.
I know
Some-
that there is part of him that is still there.
Sounds as though we have a task in front of us.
Yes.
And a reward.
If
It would be nice to see some good return to this realm.
he nods his head, if by some chance I continue to survive once the beacon has been lit, I will join you. I will aid you. I think that this land has suffered enough. My order has suffered enough. I have suffered enough.
Consider it a promise. We will find this skull. And we will do everything in our power to return it here.
He smiles again, eyes still like dead, but mouth smiling.
I mean, as far as I know, revenants are just dead, right?
Pretty much. They're just like walking corpses. Yeah.
Yeah. We appreciate the gesture.
Well then, we are losing light. Perhaps we should make our way. I believe it was south along the river.
Southwest. Yeah. It's starting to get late at this point.
I'll throw up a tiny hut.
Okay, so
That'll keep us
where do
safe.
you want to hut? Do you want to hut on the road or like outside the house or inside the house?
We can hut in the house.
Hut in the house,
We can hut. We can
In
hut
the
outside the
foyer.
house.
hut in the hut,
Maybe just outside.
away from the cobwebs.
Yeah, over by
Yeah,
the statue.
Far
over
away
by the
from the
statue.
cobwebs.
Just throw down a hut over by the statue. That'll be great.
A hut over by the statue, just hanging out.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right, and you guys leave the house without any incident.
Yes.
And hole
what's-
up in the hut for the evening. And we'll stop there.
Sweet.
Cool.
We got another thing to do. But this time, it seems like it might lead to something that directly impacts everybody.
Yeah, like a two-handed sword.
One step at a time, Zug. One step at a time. We'll be back.
Yeah, true facts. If it works, and if the beacon happens and it does kind of put the souls to rest, you've got a free sword.
We've got a dragon skull. Oh, restore.
Make sure everyone do what you got to do to prep for evil witches. Clean your axe, Zug. Sindra. Wax those
Have at it.
daggers.
Okay,
Show for show.
so let's recap then. So you guys, well, first I want to like give myself a small pat on the back for
You
like
should.
really getting you guys through there in a timely manner.
Yeah.
There's actually like this whole area and like there's more to it. You guys obviously like didn't explore the entire place, but there's like a map that goes along with it and like 80% of the rooms are like empty. And I was
Oh,
like, why am
You
I gonna
saved us a lot of time.
Oh yeah, like I saved you
Okay.
like 2 sessions worth of time of just exploring because like there's like this idea of like the itch of like needing to explore every door that you can see.
Oh yeah, it's what Josh lives for.
In front of
Yeah.
you, it just like made it like I could just lead you to like the important places and things.
You know, none of us would be disappointed if you had just like put things in those rooms or like put things in maybe 2 of them or something. Then Josh would have doors
I
to
was
open.
thinking about, I was like, I could add things to every single room and have you guys do that, but I think there's just more interesting like places and locations.
Okay, that's fine.
So to recap, you guys visited the order and found a bunch of revenants who are slowly like losing their humanity more and more. And you basically met the spirit of Argynvost, the silver dragon. And he told you like what had happened and how the battle had taken place. You met Vladimir, who is one of the like prestigious knights of the order. And he basically like has devolved to the place where he's like, you guys cannot do anything about this. Please don't. And if you try to, I will stop you. Which just want a heads up, small consideration for returning if you guys are able to get a skull at some point and return it and make it a beacon again. And provide hope to the valley. I don't know. Vladimir might not be having that. So just a small consideration. And you met Sir Godfrey, who you can only assume, based off of the way that they spoke of each other and the forlorn sadness in their eyes, that they were once lovers. And Sir Godfrey was really nice and seemed to be the only one of the three that actually had like remembered stuff. Like Argynvost, like didn't even know where his like body was. He didn't even know. He just was like, something's corrupt. He had no idea. So Godfrey seems to remember everything and was able to like tell you guys what had happened and how the beacon had been corrupted. And he's told you like how to uncorrupt it, but there's kind of a lot of contingencies there. And he also kind of told you that if for any reason he like kind of survives this and remains, that he would assist you. So like he's definitely, as far as you can tell, like on your side. But yeah, witches.
Oh boy.
Yeah, maybe witches. I don't know. Superstitious, apparently. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at. Where do you guys want to head off to next? Do you want to stay?
Witches.
You want to go to
We'll find. Let's go to Brez,
Yeah.
where we think there's a witch, and possibly
That's the marsh, right?
follow up on the lead on the skull. We hope. We wonder. But yeah, it's
There's
not
a
too far from
couple of
us.
leads there.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as you know, there's a couple of things that you might find. One being like a skull. There's also, yeah, kind of like a loose tie-in from the Keepers of the Feather about like a seed. There's also a loose tie from Mordenkainen about like the swamp thing. About the shrine to the swamp thing, because it is like quite literally a swamp. So there's some interesting roads that seem to be pointing you to this location. What are you doing, Josh? All right. And we'll pause there. What are you doing over there?
You talking about me?
Yeah.
He's just ready to take a nap. He's ready to go to bed.
Very tired.
Okay.
Good times, Hebal. Thank you for the wonderful session.
Indeed.